Stride first released back in 2020 and the parkour for its time was impressive and left gamers wanting more, and JoyWay promised to add a campaign to Stride, but that never happened, which leads us to Stride Fates 3 years later. I've been playing this most of today and currently completed 8 of the 12 missions available, and while I am impressed in some ways, especially with the graphics on Quest 3, there's definitely some issues which arise the more you play, which will prevent me from giving this an instant recommendation. To JoyWay's credit, they have semi-accomplished bringing an indie version of Mirror's Edge to VR when everything is working correctly, and I'll explain more on what I mean in a minute.
All over the place.
Swinging through massive cities populated with cars and climbing and vaulting around on the outside of buildings can feel really good. When you hook shot on drones and smash through windows and shooting the enemy in slow motion is when the game really shines. The combat, when it works correctly, is pretty satisfying too. There's 3 enemy varieties and they either wear glasses or helmets, and you can smash their sunglasses when you hit them, which is constantly enjoyable. And the ragdoll physics are pretty good, and stabbing them or hitting them with a variety of pipes and hammers and your weapons is overall very satisfying. You can also throw and blow up fuel canisters, adding some variety and fun to your killing spree. Now the problem here is you want to have to experiment, because you get so much ammo you can simply headshot your way through the game and the enemies pose no real threat. I never died at the hands of the enemy. But don't get me wrong, I did die a lot, but not for the right reasons, which again I'll get to explaining in a minute. You have 3 weapons at your disposal, a pistol, a shotgun and an SMG. They have no real physics, so you can easily one-hand them, and through the missions you'll have to search for upgrade pouches, and at the end of every mission you can upgrade your weapons. I liked this part of the game. Searching around for the pouches took up quite a bit of my time, and again, when the game works well, the combat can be very entertaining. But now, onto some negatives. The grabbing detection is varied, and in a game which is all about vaulting and climbing, especially in VR, because you're not simply pressing a button, can get a bit frustrating. I fell to my death many times, whether it be because the hook shot simply didn't work, or my hands and body clipped through the environment, or I simply went through walls, and with a checkpoint system that is varied, it can make the game feel pretty annoying and exhausting to play, because you constantly have to flail your arms up and down to have any momentum to make the jumps, which in itself can at first feel pretty immersive, until you hit the issues I've just mentioned. The real problem with Stride is, the more you play, the more the game seems to get broken, or at least for me. The NPCs spawn out of thin air and hit detection is 50-50, and after a while, it feels like you're simply going through the motions to get to the next part of the game instead of really wanting to enjoy the moment you're in. The constant chat between your character and the woman who you're working with on the whole is okay, but there is either some translation issues or the voice actors are simply reading from a script and not adapting to some of the errors in the writing. But on the whole, this is only a minor niggle. When you combine it all, what you're left with is a game that is okay. It's not brilliant, but it does have its moments. I would estimate the game time for the story, if you're like me looking around for upgrades, around 5 to 6 hours. Again, I think JoyWay have done an okay job of giving us a Mirror's Edge style game for VR. It looks really good and can feel good to play, but it's definitely lacking in some polish, and it does become repetitive. And some parts are a bit janky, leading me to not fully recommend it, and the $30 feels pretty steep for what I've played today. I would put this around $14.99, meaning I would put it in the wait for a sale category unless they do some significant updates to fix some of these issues, or you're very desperate to experience a less than great Mirror's Edge in VR. I hope this review helps some of you make a decision whether you're going to pick up Strides of Fate on the Meta Quest, and if you enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe for more virtual reality content, and if you pick up the game, please remember to let others know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks for watching.